I'm back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gamer's Edge. I am one of your hosts, Mark, and we are doing take two because we crashed early on the stream. Let's get right into chargen. I'm going to turn it over to John and Daniel, who is making characters first. Hello, let's go.
Hey, Mark, how you doing? Should we be seeing the background and everything in?
Yeah, you will momentarily. I had to get started first.
Just making sure.
Now you should.
Hey, there we are. There we are. All right. Hey, everybody, welcome back. This is our restart. We had technical difficulties. We were starting with Daniel with his character first, and he was about to tell us we were using the Savage World rules and the
Deadlands core book, and we're kind of bridging the gap.
That's absolutely right. So we're going to be starting on page 55 in the main rules and page 11 in the Deadlands book. And so Daniel was about to tell us his concept for his character.
So I'm looking over all of the concepts. They're kind of the most easily built, and a lot of them end up being what you see most in the genre. So things like grifters and deserters and drifters, common folk, bounty hunters, that kind of stuff. I had settled on an Indian shaman, a Native American shaman, who is also part Native American warrior. So I'm trying to bridge a commonality between those two tropes, those two kind of TV tropes and book tropes, to be into a single character. Um, so that would be my concept. His name is going to be October Smith, and that is the name he was given when he was taken from the Sioux Nations and then put into like an assimilation school. And now he's made his way back into the Sioux Nations and become one of their um, noted warriors.
Outstanding. Outstanding. So awesome. That's a fantastic concept. Next thing we do is we pick race. And of course, here everybody's going to be human. That's an easy decision when there's only one choice.
Right. And
Um,
humans get that extra novice edge for free, but they still have to meet the requirements. But so everybody, all the people, since everybody's human, they all get that special edge.
that's correct. So next we go into hindrances, and you can pick up to 4 points of hindrances. And a major hindrance is worth 2 points, and a minor hindrance is worth 1 point. Now, for a 2-point major hindrance, you can raise an attribute 1 die type, or you can choose an edge. If you take a 1-point hindrance, you can gain another skill point or gain additional starting funds. What do we have going on for?
So the character I'm playing, I don't really want him to be super concerned with funding, so that's already off the table. And hindrances, the cool part about hindrances that I found in this game, for anybody that isn't really familiar with Savage Worlds or otherwise, they're essentially flaws that you take to give your character some more flavor, but they also give you points to increase in other areas. So the hindrances I felt that fit my character. Again, you said 4 points in hindrances. That's 4 minor, 2 major, a major and 2 minor. Anything that adds up to that to the overall 4. I chose outsider minor. Outsider is a hindrance that has a minor and a major version. What it really means is my character was brought up outside of the society we're mostly playing in. So he probably wouldn't be an outsider in the Sioux Nation, but I anticipated that much of this game probably wouldn't be taking place in familiar territory for him. So I picked outsider, which is a minor, um, which kind of shows that he's not at, even though he kind of spent some years in the assimilation school, he didn't. He's still very much from the Sioux tribe, from the people. I also chose the old ways, a minor trait, a minor hindrance, and this actually was one of the biggest things that John and I have been talking about for the last couple of days, and how we felt this would be for the game, if it was going to take away from someone or if it was going to be kind of difficult to juggle. Essentially, it means that October will not he'll not use modern technology. So to cook his food, he's not going to use a cast iron skillet. He's not going to use guns. He's not going to use traditional leathers. He's not going to go into a store and buy clothing that will help him fit into um, the rest of the U.S. He has his clothing. He makes his clothing. He sleeps outside. He practices the old ways, and part of that is his shamanistic training. He works with the spirits of the land. He works with the spirits of different places, and when he, for example, uses a gun, if he had to pick up if he was out of arrows or something and had to pick up a pistol to defend his friends, he would have to have some talks with the spirits that surround him and work that out. So that was the other minor. I also chose Code of Honor Major. because there's a lot of aspects of honor and ritual and how you treat people and how you treat prisoners and how you treat a lot of things like that ingrained in certain tribe functions. In times of war, a lot of that changes, but
Mhm.
we're not currently in a time of war, not really. We're in a time of fear, sure, but we're not technically in a time of war. So I chose Code of Honor because I thought it would help some of the role playing choices I want to make with this character. Um, for the
And even if I could real quick,
Yeah.
you know, your code of honor, and especially since you chose Sioux among the Plains Indian, one thing when you're talking about that code of honor and the ritual and all of that stuff, even with war, you know, you can get into the whole thing about counting coup, and even that has a ritual, even that has an expectation for behavior and how how it's done, right? So
Right.
so even in war, it's still, there's still something there.
That's true. So for the points, I knew I was going shaman, and shaman has an archetype, which is kind of like a template that says how many powers I'll get, how many power points I get, some suggestions and actions. Well, it has requirements. One of the requirements is that I have a spirit, which is an attribute of D8. It starts off at D4, so I know I was going to need some extra points to pump that up to D8. And so I spent 2 points moving it from a D4 to a D6, and then a D6 to a D8. I also there's a lot of math
Each
here.
step, just so you know, Doug, is he starts at a D4, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody
Oh,
understood
yeah.
that. So he starts at a D4, and so to go from a D4 to a D6 costs him 1 point, and then
Okay.
go from D6 to D8 costs him 1 point.
So
So
I misspoke too.
4 to D8 costs him 2 points,
Okay.
I also
right?
misspoke because when you're using the points granted from hindrance, I think it costs 2 hindrance points for 1 step.
Does it? For 2 hindrance? Yes. Yeah, you're
So
correct.
so I was mixing up my words. So for all of us humans, all of our attributes, agility, smarts, spirit, strength, and vigor all start at D4.
That's correct.
You get 5 points that you can put into those. And I know I'm moving forward. I'm going to move back in a second. You get 5 points to put into those. And I pushed all of them to D6.
Okay.
So I moved 2 of my hindrance points, moved my spirit to D8.
Okay.
My other 2 hindrance points went into skills. And I can't remember which skills
Right.
at this point.
Okay. Okay.
For
Four
my
hindrance points, right, is what you had. So 2 of them moved your agility from 6 to 8, and 2 of them moved your spirit from 6 to 8.
oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Yep.
So you spent the 5 putting everything in a 6. Then you took your 4 hindrance points to move those 2 to 8.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
Because
Okay.
agility is going to be very very important for my bow, and also spirit's going to be important for my
Right.
shamanistic.
Most your typical target for a roll is 4, right? So you have to equal or exceed a 4 for your just average roll.
Yep.
So if you're shooting a guy in combat and there's no modifiers, so there's no range modifier, there's no cover modifier, there's no whatever other kind of modifier, then in order to shoot him, you need to roll a 4. Okay, so next is your skills.
Yeah.
And with skills, you actually get to start with a bunch of skills for free. You start with athletics, common knowledge, notice, persuasion, and stealth. And I think Mark added or Daniel added all those to
your guys'
everybody's
sheet.
character sheet.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel.
So those should already be on your sheet, and those are free at the D4 level.
At the D4 level. And then you have 12 points to put into these or any other skill. And so this is a little complicated, but not really. It costs 1 point to increase your skill a die. Okay. Up and until, so let's take athletics, for example. Athletics is agility. Okay. So October's agility is a D8. So it costs 1 point to go from 4 to 6 and 6 to 8. So that's a total of 2 points to go from 4 to 8, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Everybody? Okay. Yep. Then once you are equal to your attribute, every step past that costs you 2 points.
Okay.
So to go from D8 to D10 on athletics would cost him 2 points. So his total cost to go from 4 to 10 would be 4.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So we've got the attributes and so skills. And I see, can you talk us through what you did with skills here, Daniel?
1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm up a skill point. I'm going to put... Oh, that's why I'm up a skill point. Shoot. Okay, I'll take care of that. All right, so I started with the 5 that you mentioned. Athletics, common knowledge, notice, persuasion, stealth, all at D4. And some of those looked good. They all looked good for what they were. I also knew I was going to need to take native language for English because that's part of the outsider. And it makes sense for my character. So I took that at D4. I figured we could talk about what that would mean. I figured he understands English well enough and can speak it well enough, but maybe can't read it. But that was something I figured we could talk about. I upped his fighting. First, I upped his faith because faith has a requirement for the archetype, the shaman archetype, which in the book is page 71 in the
Right.
Deadlands book. It gives me kind of a description of what a shaman is, what it does, what my available powers are. For those of you familiar in D&D, what my spell list is that I can choose spells from. And so I knew faith was a requirement. Faith is my spellcasting skill for this, so I wanted it to be a little bit higher. Fighting, because that's tomahawk and punching. Notice, I wanted up a little bit because because I know how this game plays, and a D4 notice is not good.
It's hard to roll over a 4 if you're rolling a D4.
Yeah. I have a friend that went through a lot of painful staring at his shoes.
Yes.
Writing, of course, I wanted to be up a little bit, and then shooting, because that is the skill for the bow as well. I wanted up a little bit. My plan is, as you have discussed, we're going to be doing advances, which essentially are level ups. And so my plan was to level up some of my skills using those advances as well. I have played a spellcaster before. Any of you that want to go back and watch some of the Freedom for the Borderlands games, I have played 2 different types of spellcasters. It must be a thing because I am playing a spellcaster again. But usually I take edges that beef up that spellcasting, and in this case, I'm not going to do that so much. I'm going to focus on trying to make everything even, where before I focused heavily on the spellcasting aspect, whether it was spellcasting or mad sciencing, weird sciencing.
Oh.
So one of the things is we're going to start at rank 4. Everybody's going to be seasoned. Everybody's going to start at rank 4 as a seasoned character, and we'll go through that. But that is going to part of what we see here on Daniel's character sheet is technically, if we hadn't started the advances yet, one of his abilities or one of his attributes would have to be at 6 at the moment, right?
Oh, because I can only have one at 8.
No, you can have as many as you want as you can afford, but you need to, at the character's creation, you have to take arcane background, and that costs you 2 hindrance points.
Oh, so here's the thing about that. I'm a human and get a free edge.
Free novice edge.
Is it not a novice edge? An arcane background?
We can look at that. Good. This is why we talk through things, because all of us are learning.
And Doug, if you're like, wow, Daniel has all this stuff prepared in advance, wait till you get to me. Because don't worry, I don't.
I was just worrying about that. I was like,
page
is I supposed
18?
to do homework?
No, you're good.
So here's, so John and I delved deeply into Savage Worlds over the last game, and because I was doing Magic, it's a much larger commitment, and so I know a lot of these rules. It's a page 18 of the Deadlands book, but it is a novice. The arcane background requires a spirit of D8, a faith of D4, and it's a novice background.
Page 18.
Page 18. Yep. Most of the
where do you
things,
see that it's novice?
it says requirements novice.
Right, you have to be a novice. I
am a novice. I'm level 1.
Right, but that doesn't make it a novice edge.
What?
I'm looking.
I don't recall ever seeing an edge that didn't say novice, or
unless it says higher,
seasoned, seasoned or legendary.
And while you're looking that up, we have a tutorial.
Maybe I did. Yeah, okay. I thought there was a category.
Tutorm.
I think novice is the wording. Yeah, I'm looking through the other ones too. I don't see any that don't have some form of rank specificity.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But anything,
and I